Hey, what's up everyone? It's Duncan from 4xtouring.com. This video to give you a bit of a channel update, an update on what's happening to Dicerus, my 80 series, and then also to touch on some free mapping platform that I've been working on, and I thought I'll share that with you, how this mapping, what this mapping platform is, how to use it, and give you an overview of it. Now, I must apologize. I haven't been consistent with and regular with my videos. It's lots been going on, and those of you who've been following me for a while would know that last year was rough for us. This year started off with Johnny's dad passing away very abruptly, and then prior to that, a year earlier, we lost Johnny's mum. So it's been a bit rough going. So then we decided that's it. We needed a complete change in our environment, so we decided to move to the country. So those of you who are familiar with Adelaide, we will know the Adelaide Hills. Well, that's where we are. We moved to the Adelaide Hills, kind of nice open spaces, so we went through the process of shifting, getting settled in, and then getting back into the normal routine of life, so to speak. As far as Dicerus is concerned, it's been quite the journey there itself. And again, those who have been following me for a while would know that Dicerus was going in for diff locks, front and rear diff locks. And as with everything else, being caught up with the supply chain issues that we are going through, the new normal, I hope not, but at least at the moment, getting the parts took a while. Eventually the parts did arrive, and then Dicerus went in to the shop to get the whole installation done. And at the same time, they were also going to do a complete rebuild of the front and rear axles, so that I get it all done at one time. It made sense. And then as they were doing that, they came across a part that needed to be ordered, and we've been sitting and waiting for that part to arrive. So as I speak right now, we're hoping to get that part, or the workshop is hoping to get that part in today or tomorrow. Today is Thursday and Friday, and then hopefully I'll have Dicerus back on the road towards maybe perhaps end of next week. So fingers crossed. So unfortunately, it's out of everybody's control. It's the way the things are working out these days. So I'm stuck at home. I'm very, very frustrated. I want to get out there, at least just do some local traveling in the 4B, but I guess patience becomes a virtue. So that's where it is. And by the way, if you're watching my channel for the very first time, my channel is all about sharing my experiences in overlanding with everybody else. So hit the subscription button and the notification bell and keep following me. Thank you for the support. Now, maps. So I'm going to start sharing the screen with you in a moment. Now, again, those of you who've been following me for a while would know that I did a whole series of videos about Hema maps and how you can get Hema maps onto a tablet. I did a whole series, keep the cost really low, and for under 100, 150 Australian dollars, you could get yourself a tablet with off-road maps for Australia. If you missed that, go take a look. Now, while I still do use the Hema maps when I travel, I haven't exactly been too happy with the entire Hema platform, and I did mention this a few other times in previous videos. And one of the bigger complaints I had was the mapping platform. It's not user-friendly as far as I'm concerned. Some of you may disagree, but I just find it's very temperamental, and it doesn't scale properly, and I haven't been too happy with it, but I still continue to use it nevertheless. And then one of my subscribers, Stuart, and a big thank you to Stuart, you know who you are. Stuart mentioned Gaia maps, and I had heard about Gaia maps. I had actually even downloaded it to my phone, but I never really got into it. I just download stuff and and sort of never bother with them. And when he mentioned it and he gave me some information on how he uses it, I thought, let me give it a shot and started playing around with it. And there are certain things which I don't like about Gaia Maps, which I'll also share with you. But at the same time, it is also a good platform. Now, one of the nice things about Gaia is that you can use Gaia and get the best of both worlds. And what I mean by that is use Gaia, and to overcome some of the drawbacks of Gaia, you can then use it on Hema as well. So I'll go through that and I'll share the screen with you and you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. Another mapping platform I've been trying out, which I will do another video at another time, is Oz Explorer or Explore Oz Maps. Now, in my opinion, so far from what I've experienced, it's a much better user-friendly mapping platform, which is backed up by a massive community that backs it up. But it is a platform where you have to pay a subscription or pay for it annually or monthly. So I'm not going to talk about that platform in this video. This one I'm mainly trying to share with you something that is completely free, and where it'll help you with your basic trip planning, route planning, and so on. And particularly one thing I've learned over the years is a good portion of the subscribers on my channel are new to this lifestyle and new to sort of getting out there and exploring beyond the beaten track, so to speak. And I find that this kind of mapping free platforms might be very useful if you're a starter and you don't want anything too complicated, but at the same time something that will help you. Now, one thing I need to mention is, and this is something personally that I do, again, some of you may have different sort of approach or idea, but I still am very biased towards printed maps. As much as I love tech and I'm a sucker for it, I love printed maps. So I still like to get the old-fashioned way, get a map, open it out, lay it on table or lay it on the bonnet of your 4B and work out the route. But I do work it in conjunction with the digital maps. So I still say, and my recommendation is, as much as you have these fancy gadgets and new age stuff, have some printed maps with you. It's a lot easier. Anyway, having said that, Gaia Maps. Now let's get onto the screen here. Now this is how, once you open it up, Gaia Maps looks. And straight off the bat, one thing I do like, and like I said, I will mention as I go along in this video things I don't like about it, is it's so much easier to scale, to use it, and as much as, and again, you can work it on your PC, at the same time have it synced to your phone as well. Now to give you a comparison, so here's Gaia Maps, and I can go deep into it and get all the little details. At the same time, if you compare that to Hema, this is Hema, and I find it's very twitchy sometimes, and then sometimes, you know, I don't know, it just, maybe I'm being a bit too fussy, but I just find it sometimes lagging. And especially with the offline maps, it tends to take quite a while for it to start bringing up the details. So, but having said that, what I still do appreciate is on the Hema, and again, for those of you who haven't been following my past videos, the Hema maps that I'm using, it's a once-off payment, so it's not the subscription-based maps. I'm trying to keep costs low. That's what I like to do. I like to always keep costs low. And so it's a once-off payment for this. So it's not a monthly or yearly subscription, $99, buy it, and that's it. Have it on your tablet. And that's what I've been doing. And I've been using it in conjunction, as I said, with my printed maps. Now, Hema does also have the subscription-based. I've never used it, and I don't think I have any intention of using the subscription-based one. However, I have been trying out the subscription-based platform from Explore Oz. That's for another video, another time. Anyway, so going back to Gaia Maps. This is Gaia Maps. I do like how smooth it is to use in terms of zooming in, zooming out, getting into those details and so on. Now, a quick overview. So onto your left-hand side of the screen, you can have the various different overlays. You can activate whichever one you want, and then you get the different layers. So you can have the satellite layer, and if you want to get a satellite view, you can do that, or go into your topo maps, and you can get your street maps as well. And so there you go. If you move into the city areas, you can get the street maps as well. Now, one of the drawbacks is that I was going to mention is that the level of detail in Gaia maps is not as comprehensive as you would get in one of the other platforms. Now, for the sake of this video, Hema would be far more detailed. There you go. So that's your Hema, extremely detailed. Whereas if I go back to my Gaia maps, and if I go into, let's say, the Adelaide city, you would find it's not as detailed. Now, one of the reasons I'm thinking is because Gaia Maps is an American platform. It's not developed specifically for Australia, whereas Hema is specifically developed for Australia. And I don't think they put a lot of attention. We are a small market, in my opinion, and they wouldn't put all that effort into it and provide it free at the same time. So it's not as detailed as some of the other platforms. Having said that, it does have a fair bit of detail as far as Australia is concerned. So for instance, if I go into one of the outbacks here in South Australia, and if you go into areas like Roxby Downs, or if I go further up and I want to do, say, the Udawatta track, that is available. So it's not that bad. It has basic information that you would need. I also found Gaia Maps is a little bit more biased towards hikers, and I think this is an assumption on my part, I think it was when it was initially developed and even the current development, it's more towards those who like to hike. So if you're into hiking, then spend a bit of time on Gaia Maps and see how that works for you, because it's got a lot of hiking routes. But having said that, we can use it for our off-road purposes as well. And what I said a little earlier about how you can have best of both worlds, I will show you that in a minute, so keep watching. Now, going through it, you can then also create your own routes and save them. You can create a waypoint if you want. If you want to create a route, then that can be done too, and so on. So in this video, I'm trying to keep it short. I'm trying to give you just a quick overview. If you would like me to do a detailed video on the use of Gaia Maps, please do leave in the comments below, or write to me through the website 4x2ring.com, and I will do a detailed video quite gladly. Now, one of the things, let's just quickly show you if I want to do a route and I'm just picking a place in random. All I do is go to routes. I can give that route a name. So I'm just going to call this test route. And all I do is start creating. Now, one of the nice things is if I'm creating a route, let's say I want to do it from Port Augusta to Corn, I just start, that's my starting point perhaps, let's say, and then I can drag it along and then create the route as I want. Now, one of the nice things is if there is an existing route or existing track, it will sort of snap into place. As you can see, it'll just snap into place. There you go. See, that's a demo. I'm sure you just noticed that it just sort of snaps into place. I can go more really deep into it and come over there, and it automatically snaps into place. And if I want to use one of the less used tracks, I can do that too. So there you go. It kind of snaps into place, which makes life a little bit easier. And you can now, once you have created that, you can hit save, and you have saved your route. And you can create multiple routes. Now we'll come back to this, but now I want to just draw your attention to the right hand side of the screen, and you do this pull down, and if you're using this pull down menu, you can then go to your routes, and it will bring up all the routes that I would have saved. Now currently I've just got one route, that's just the route I just created, but as you go along you can build these up. And then I can get this route that I created to be available to the public. So anyone else wants to come and get that route, share it with for their trip or whatever, that is available if I chose to make it available public. Also, I got the option to sync it. What they mean by that is you can then create the route on your laptop or PC and then have it synced to your mobile app. So it's always easier on the bigger screen to do your route planning, and then sync it. It works vice versa as well. So if you're on the go and you got it on your phone or your tablet, and you can use it as an offline. There may be no signal, there's no Wi-Fi connection, but you can use it as an offline map. And then the moment you come back into, and you got Wi-Fi connection or you got cell signal, it will sync immediately with your maps on your Gaia account. So that's a nice feature, and just about all other platforms offers that feature as well. Now, going back to the main map, something else that you can do, and this is what I mentioned about having best of both worlds in terms of detail. Now, there are a few other things I don't like about Gaia, which I will mention, so keep watching the video, is once I've got my route and I have once I've got my route, it will appear in the saved list, and this is the one that I created, which was my test route. So go into my test route, there it is. It'll give me some basic information, how long that route is from start to finish in terms of ascent or elevation. It'll give you a bit of that information, and there you go. So you get a bit of that information, and you can decide whether you want the map to appear on your route to appear on your map or not. There you go. Switch it on again. And then if you want to get driving directions, what this means is if I hit driving directions, it will then open up on Google Maps. There you go. And I can get driving directions. So that is provided that route is available on Google Maps. Now, coming back to Gaia Maps, I can then duplicate the route and modify it if I wanted to. And this is what I want to bring your attention to. You can then export this route that you created, and you can choose from one of 3 different types of files. GPX would be a more popular one, and then there are other 2. So if you export it as a GPX file, save it somewhere on your hard drive, and then you can go into Hema Maps for the purpose of this video and bring it into Hema Maps using the upload feature which Hema offers. So upload that file. I'm just mentioning it, I'm not doing it as such, but you get what I'm talking about. Now, why would you want to do that if you've already got Gaia Maps on your phone or tablet? And it's a fair question, because you may not want to. It may be good enough, but if you already got something like Hema Maps also available, The reason why I would do that is because of what I mentioned a little earlier, which is that Hema has a lot more details than Gaia does. So get it, because it's user friendly, it's a lot more easier. Get the route, or perhaps you got a route from someone else who's already created it and it's in the public domain. Bring it in, export it and import it into Hema, and you can then look at that route in conjunction with the details which Hema offers, and then perhaps you could even modify that route further using Hema or whichever other platform you are happy using. So that's one of the advantages of having these two platforms. And also Gaia Maps, like I said, is a lot easier in my opinion to use. Now, some of the things I don't like about Gaia is one of the main things I don't like is the contrast in what you get to see on your screen. It's not contrasty enough in my opinion. And if I were to compare that with, say, the Hema maps, there's far better contrast. Especially when it comes to the tracks. It's very contrasty in Hema as compared to Gaia maps. Why is this important? Well, to me, especially when you're on the go, if you're on a laptop or a PC, no worries. But if you're on the go and you're looking at a little tablet screen or even smaller phone screen, you want that contrast. You want to be able to see it at a glance, because you also got this light coming through your windows and your windscreen, and that adds to that visibility issue. So if it is contrasty, it's a lot easier to see the map, whereas I find Gaia maps are not as contrasty as I would like them to be. So that's one criticism. The second criticism I have, apart from the fact that it's lacking in a lot of detail, you got to really zoom in. Now, for instance, if you're looking at the screen right now, and we'll just take this route here, it doesn't, or this one here, for instance, it won't tell me what is the name of that road or track if there is a name. I got to really zoom into it considerably before it gives me. There you go. So now I finally got the road, Streaky Bay Road in this. And here again, you can see once the map has loaded, you can see the contrast issue I was talking about. So, and you got to really zoom in. Even if the more you zoom in, the names get smaller and smaller. And perhaps this is something to do with my eyesight. I don't know, but I find that a little bit annoying. Whereas I wish at a glance I could, when I'm zoomed out a bit more, I could see the names if there is a name. So that's another criticism I have. But then again, you've got to keep in mind this is a free, or at least the free part of this mapping platform. So you got to give them credit that for free you're getting at least this much. One of the other drawbacks I came across with Gaia Maps is when you're using it offline. Now with Hema, you can download an entire offline map for your particular state. So I've downloaded South Australian maps, and you could do the same. Whereas Gaia Maps, you can't download maps as far as I discovered. Correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone might have used Gaia Maps far more extensively than I have, but I found that you can't download offline maps for the entire state. You got to get them section by section. So, for instance, here in South Australia, if I'm going to Flinders Ranges, then I can only download that part of the state. And so again, one of the advantages is if you've already got Hema on your tablet or whatever device that you use when you travel, by taking that route and then exporting it across to Hema and then fine tuning the route even further would be one of those advantages, because Hema has got, you can download maps for the entire state. But if that is not something that is of concern to you, then that won't affect you. You can plan your trip according to where you want to go and just download the offline map for that specific area that you want to travel through. So that's pretty much Gaia Maps, and I did, like I said, it's just going to be a quick video. Play around with it, give it a shot, see what you think, and then if you would like me to do a detail, like I said, leave them in the comments below or write to me through 4bytouring.com. And if you've got specific questions, I'm happy to help you out. Write to me. Go to 4bytouring.com and then use the contact page through which you can contact me. So I hope you found that video useful. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe. You've got nothing to lose. And from this video onwards, I will be bringing out videos every single week again. I'm back to being in the routine of things. So thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for the support. Thanks for subscribing, and see you again in another video really soon.